up here. All right, Jane, cart buckets. Remember the cart buckets? Do y'all remember what my goal for everybody is for this calendar year to donate the cart? Who? $25 through the course of the year. So if you want to go ahead and get started, throw some in the bucket. If you want to knock it out of the way, throw it in the bucket. We're gonna ask for more anyway, but you did $25, everybody, I've achieved the goal. Next week, we will have Tiffany Irvin here, who is the director of CART. So next week would be a great week to show our support for the CART bucket. Let's see, Greg, Sergeant at Arms. He gets the fun part.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. All right, we have one still guest here that will be inducted next week, Lillian Kovacheva. All right, good to have you back. Right, and let my partner in crime take a ticket. Okay, ticket ending in 975.
7-5.
Who got it?
Bill's on.
I have bought one ticket. Usually I buy four, but I just get like 50 cents.
Yeah, we got the 3 diamonds.
Better luck next time.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll put that in the cart later.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, prayer request, William Black. We'll pray for William. You got one?
Can't remember who has been diagnosed here. Unfortunately, it's tried the transition of home. So if you could just keep my family and him in your prayers as we prepare for this next part of life.
We will definitely pray for you and your family. Anybody, any other prayer requests? No?
I think we need to pray for the children of this community as school starts out.
Amen to that.
Seniors.
All right, community announcements. Anything, anybody? No? Quiet time in the community? That's good. Club business. Okay, so I'm gonna let Fred go last on club business. Can I have my water, please, ma'am?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we mentioned new members, so you will be inducted next week, and then next month is actually membership month. So you'll be hearing from Kristen next month on how to get new members in our club. So that's happening. We have made a decision to order new name tags. I have 3 examples here. If y'all would like to look at them and give me your thoughts on which name tag you prefer. This one can be just like what we have now, which is white with our colors. There is a silver option we can do. And then this one has a pin on the back. So I'm just gonna leave them at the table in the back, and y'all can let us know what you think about name tags. But we're gonna redo them with our official logo, our name. If you're a past president, it will say past president and your vocation. So everybody good with that? Y'all like it? All right, good deal. Oh, okay. So we got a thank you card from GMC. We're grateful for your support of Georgia Military College, signed by, I can't really read the names, but I'm sure. Okay. So we got that. Hopefully nobody missed this. Did anybody see this? Thank you, Barlow and his staff. We got an excellent write-up on the 85th anniversary. And I read it too, y'all, and it had some facts in there about Rotary that I don't know. So make sure if you don't have one, follow Keith back to the unit recorder, buy yourself a paper and, read it, because it was very interesting. You might can get it online, too, but he would rather you buy the paper probably. You need to keep it, keep safe. And then service projects. So we probably gonna hear a lot from Fred this year. Fred has been really, really, really busy. So he's had a lot of success with the 2 service projects we did. I think we completed every week of food distribution for Baldwin County schools. So thank you to everyone who helped with that. We were also at the back school bash, maybe 10 or 12 people went to the back school bash, and I think they were playing soccer or doing something fun out in the heat. So good job there. And so now he is already working on his next one. And I'll be helping. Is this one I'm helping you out with? Oh. No, we're talking about something different. Okay, so why don't you explain what we got here?
Real quick, I wanted to say, hey, thank you everybody who came out and supported those service. I mean, round of applause. I gotta give it to you. Thank you to those who have assisted me in developing the project, coming up from design all the way to making sure that the project is a success. So thank you to all of you. This last project, Jeff, I appreciate you bringing out the tables and chairs. Lynn, I appreciate you being there in the hot weather with us, passing out those pencils. Don, you were with us, and so many more. I hope I'm not losing anybody here. That's here right now, but just it's been great to serve with you all, next to you all. This last project, when I tell y'all this was a task for Greg, you were here, I remember the best. This last project at the back school bash, when we showed up, we were over activities, and when we showed up, and they can vouch, and we had a bag full of flat balls, we had tennis rackets, tennis balls. And they were like, that's the activity. And so the club, the people who came out to help support the project would say, hey, Fred, what are we supposed to do? So I would call, I can't remember her name, but she was over the project. I would call and say, hey, what's the activity? And she would kind of brush me off. Yeah, there's some balls there. And I'm saying, okay, so what is the activity? Yeah, so whatever y'all want to do. So, I'm okay, so I turned to everybody and said, hey, look, we got to try to make something happen with what we got. And we did it. We had a group of 10, and we passed out pencils to children as they were walking past. We actually had a chance to roam around and pass out pencils, but we actually had a little small soccer match there. So it was fun, it was hot. But I know next year when if I get a chance to do it again, I know that I can bring some more stuff to the table and make it more, better managed as we go into it and get into it. So it's not as chaotic. But it was a fun project, not here less. This flyer here is out sitting on your table. It is it's focusing on our August Rotary focus area, which we said was going to be maternal and child health focus. So that's what we want to focus on for that month. I do want to make sure, because I'm still learning myself, just because we focus on this, we're focusing on this area, doesn't mean this is the only service project we can do. Right? This is just, we're making sure we hit target one focus area per month. That was the goal. So this way helps us meet that goal. So for August, it's going to be maternal child health. We're partnering with Milledgeville Caring Solutions. And essentially, we'll be collecting baby items to support their initiative of what they do in the community when it comes to supporting new mothers or mothers who are pregnant unexpectedly. So that's a big way, I think, to support our community as far as our child's health. When you're talking about car seats, you're talking about sanitation napkins, diapers, and things like that. You're targeting a lot of areas, safety, health safety. So there's the details on here. They're going to be coming to the club on August the 17th to speak to the club, and that was set up by one from the family. They're going to come into the club and speak to the club on the 17th, and the goal is to have these items there for them to receive. So here's the flyer. It's got some details as far as where you can drop off these items and who the contact persons are. But you can also bring them to the club meeting. We have 2 club meetings before this project, before we'll be presenting them to Caring Solutions. So feel free to bring them to the club. What am I forgetting?
Well, if you're scared to go baby shopping and you afraid you might get baby fever, you know, if you want to make a monetary
I got a
donation.
plan. I had a plan, I'm gonna take my wife, we get baby fever together, but I think when we go, yeah, we go, I know. When we go shopping, for sure, after we look at the prices of these car seats, we haven't bought a car seat in 11 years, so I'm sure after we look at all the prices, we're gonna have this. So we'll and, great projects, yes.
Fred, if we want to do Amazon gift cards, what denomination?
That's kind of what you would like to do. Any denomination will help.
Yeah.
10.
I would think $25, and if you do, just in case.
That might buy a pack of diapers.
Right.
I don't
So
know, I don't know what they
I
cost.
think the concept is that these cards will be given to them, right, but then they would give them to maybe mothers. It could go like that. So I would say the lowest amount would be the best amount, so that if it does get passed on, then it's not a big amount of a card. And then if Caring Solutions wants to purchase, I'm just saying that off the top of my head, but if you wanted to do more than $25, you can get two $25 gift cards. That's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah.
Just one last thing I wanted to talk about. We got a lot of other projects coming down the pipe. East Pole project that we're not set in stone on these projects, but we're still deciding whether or not we have the capability to carry out these projects and what resources will look like. But it's a East Pole project. We just got contact with Dr. Price, who has some books that we might be able to do a literacy project towards the end of the month in terms of giving books to third graders. So we're still learning some information about that. And then there was also the Milledgeville Bridge that's down on the south side.
Joanne and I are taking this month.
Okay, you're taking this month. Okay, so we're going to present that to the board, but we'll want to come up with a structured way for us to say who's coming up, you know, who has this month in terms of going there, making sure it's, you know, it's clean and, you know, things like that, or if they want to donate anything, or solicit donations for the refrigerator that they can. So all that stuff is in the work. We're taking it month by month, but I can tell you this, we're achieving our goals. We have made one service project per month. We've exceeded our goal in terms of service hours output. All right.
In just July. Yeah,
So-
for the whole year.
For the
We
whole
just
year.
see-
So we're doing a great job. If you feel like you have more you want to contribute to this effort and going forward, please reach out to myself or anybody that's on the board, so we can make sure that what your ideas for certain projects are being carried along.
Yeah, just a little short update on the strategic plan. I don't have it in front of me, but a few things I know that are happening because of the strategic plan, what he just said with the service projects. Also, let's see, our budget will be in place by the board meeting so that we can vote on it. And then after budget, we're working on bylaws. So if any of that interests you, see Dawn, she heads up that committee. Our next board meeting will be the third Tuesday in August at my office. So, and remember, you can come, just because you're not on the board doesn't mean you can't come, and it does serve as a makeup. Okay, at noon, yep. And with that, I'm gonna call up Tamara and she can introduce our speaker.
Thanks, Erin. Thanks, everyone, for coming today. This introduction is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to require some technical support from our guest speaker also to get his presentation together. But I will say very quickly that we're very proud to have him with us today. He has a true passion for service and makes him a perfect guest for Rotary. Talk about all the different things, his involvement in the community and providing leadership for those type projects. He's with Georgia College in their public health department and also serves with Live Healthy Baldwin. I'd like to introduce to you today, Dr. Damian Francis. See if we can find your presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
You know, I was saying to my research fellow as I came in, I'm really tired. I'll tell you my journey while we find the presentation here. It started out probably at the end of May. I went to Washington, D.C. to meet with some of our congressmen and senators to talk about SNAP and the Farm Bill. And then after that, I went to Newfoundland. Got stuck in Montreal on my way back because of a storm. Then after that, I came home. The next day, I drove from here to Ithaca, upstate New York. And then I came back. And yesterday and the day before, I had to find myself in Alabama at Tuskegee with 4 of our students who were giving presentation at a cancer research symposium. So I've had a whirlwind of a summer. And I see this as my closing, my closing to the summer. After this, I'm going to take a break. My wife says you cannot continue like this. And she's a nurse, so I trust her judgment. Thank you very much. Let's see what we have going on here. We have screen share going on. Good. I'm a little old fashioned, as young as I am. I like to have it downloaded on the computer. Sometimes we lose internet connection, so I'm just gonna open this. I was going to talk to you about social disparities in housing. And as I was explaining to Mark and I forgot your name, and Wes, that over the last 4 weeks, there have been some amazing things happening in Baldwin County. You know, for probably a little over 12 years, the county and the city have tried to hammer out an agreement that would see the signing of a land bank. And I know for a lot of people, a land bank sounds like a difficult or a not so nice thing. But in our case, fortunately, the way it was designed, it will see the development of housing for the working class. It will see the development of housing for low-income families. And these are all going to be done through nonprofits like Habitat for Humanity. And so the land bank provides the county the opportunity to gift the properties that they own, if they so choose, to these nonprofits to build more affordable housing. And our county, thanks to the hard work of our county officials and supporting members, have over the last probably year and a half gotten close to, I would say, $6 million in federal grants to develop infrastructure, to build homes, to improve sewer, to improve water, all in our little Baldwin County. And I think that's a commendable and great thing. And so 2 weeks ago, while I was at home, Carlos Tobar, our county manager, called me and he said, you need to come to the Wesley AME Chapel right away because we have a press briefing and then we're going to do an interview, because the good news is we got a $4.9 million grant from the federal government to completely rehabilitate the roadways and lighting infrastructure in one of our communities that is very dear to my heart. It's Oconee Heights. And one of the reasons it's so dear to my heart is because it is where some of the most treasured artifacts of our history in this county lie. It's where Central State is. And Central State at one point, if we don't already know this, was one of the largest healthcare facilities in the Western Hemisphere. It boasted, like none other, the mental capacity, the mental care capacity to take care of all of the mental health illnesses in all of Georgia and even surrounding states. And then, of course, there is the Lockerly, which we all know and love. And so to see this $4.9 million project working in that area and coming through for that area, of course, brings joy to me. So I won't talk to you about social disparities in housing because we have had so many successes. But instead, I'm going to talk about something that is dear and near to our stomach, or probably our heart. And it's the food environment in our county, because it's something that also requires urgent attention. Let's see, hopefully you're seeing, yeah, you're seeing the right thing. And so I'm going to talk to you for the next couple of minutes on assessing the food environment in Baldwin County in Georgia. We have assessed all of the county's food stores, and what we have found is, let's leave that as a surprise. What we have found, I'll tell you in a little while. But I want to start with this question for you. What do you understand by the term equity? Equity, anyone? What do you understand by the term equity?
Access to everyone.
Access to everyone. I heard a term coming here.
Fairness.
Kind of fairness. As I came in and I looked on your four tests, your four-way test, I thought, here is a group that will understand exactly what we're trying to accomplish here when we talk about the food environment. So I have this very, what I'd say sometimes cause controversy in rooms that I go to when we talk about this. I think equality, we all get, we all understand. I think justice, we all get, we all understand. And so on the top of this picture, you see inequality where one child has an apple and the other child doesn't have an apple. And you know, that can't happen. That's just going to cause a lot of tears. I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. And if I, get something for one, you kind of have to get it for the other. And so sometimes we try to remedy the solution of inequality by providing the same support to both groups. And as you can see on the right side, that while we provide a ladder to both children, you will find that one of the child still can't have access to that apple tree, right? And a friend of mine once told me, she says, an engineer would have the easiest solution to this. What do you think? Any engineers in the room? No engineers? An engineer would shake the tree, right? And if you shake the tree, the apples will fall. But if you shake the tree and the apples fall, the next time the child needs an apple, somebody will have to be there to shake the tree. And that's the issue with handouts. You hand out today, you kind of have to hand out tomorrow again, and you hand out the next week. And so what we want to do is build equity by providing the structural changes that the child or the population needs to achieve equal access. And so if you look on that third one on the right side, you will see that the child who could not reach the apple tree has gotten a longer ladder. And so my concept of equity, and a concept that we advance in the sciences, is that equity is not about taking from one group to give to the other. It's about providing for the one who needs that access what they actually need, and accepting that some people will need a little bit more. So we are not about, when we talk about equity, taking or taxing the rich, as it is said, to give to the poor. No, that's not what we're saying. What we're suggesting with equity is that we should provide for those who are starting at a disadvantaged place more so that they could get access and become equal with those who already have access. And so the food environment in Baldwin County is one of those areas where we need to address equity in particular. Because for those of you who live outside of the city, you would understand and appreciate where I'm going with this, in that for you to get to a grocery store, you have to drive at least 10 or 15 miles. And if you think about your neighbors, those who are aging in place, who may not be able to jump in their car whenever they feel like and drive to the store, how do they get access? And so accessibility to things like grocery stores, for us who are probably well and able to drive to the store, is okay. But for those who live outside of the city limits, who needs to get access to these stores, it's become a problem. So in our county, which is largely a rural county, the distance to food establishment is a challenge. You will also note that there is no formal public transportation system in our county. We do have the Baldwin County Transit System where you call and make an appointment, but that can take hours and it can take a while. And so there's also a lot of people with diminished socioeconomic opportunities, and therefore they are either underemployed, unemployed, or they're on social security benefits. And this fixed income may not be able to adequately provide for them to go into town as often as they can. And so again, they depend on things like food banks, they depend on things like food drives, they depend on things like mobile meals to come to them. And so what we did a couple of years ago with a couple of students is we decided that we were going to drive to the length and breadth of this county, and we're going to visit every single food establishment there is. And we went and we drove around, we did that. John can attest, one time I brought back the Georgia College car with a busted tire because I was off-roading. And it was just difficult. And so he's working on us getting a truck so that we can do some more of these work in the rural areas. And so after mapping all of this, we use some of the tools that are, you know, at our convenience at Georgia College. We had GIS devices. We went out and we mapped all the full service grocery stores. And so an example of a full service grocery store would be like your Kroger or your Walmart, which means everything is in one place. Then we have our general merchandise stores. This is like your Dollar General. And hopefully I won't offend the Dollar General folks, if any Dollar General folks is in here, but they're growing like crazy. You know, everywhere you go, there's a Dollar General. I went up when I was in New York, I saw a Dollar General, something I don't usually see, but they're growing leaps and bounds. Full service restaurants, we mapped those, we assessed those. We did fast food restaurants. We did gas station convenience stores, corner stores, you know, places like Starbucks, which is our non-alcoholic beverage bars, and we did pharmacies and drugstores. And we did all of this in order to access or to assess whether or not there is access to fresh fruits and vegetables and some other food kinds that we think are very important, like fresh meat. And so we looked at those who had no access, suboptimal access, marginal access, and optimal access. So we classified stores based on the amount of access people have to the produce in those stores. The food environment can be classified as physical and social or person-centered. We are primarily looking on the physical food environment, what is available, because we know food can be available and people choose not to buy healthy foods. But that's not what we're assessing. We're first assessing what is available for people to buy in this county. So we did our GIS mapping. We assessed the fruits and vegetables. We mapped this by census tract and by block groups. And I'm going to skip over some of the methods so that I won't bore you with those details. And then we took a look at the county. We looked at the county data, and what we saw with the county data is that, you know, we have a population over 40,000 people. The average income is about 21,000. So we know our population is mixed. That's the per capita income. The median household income is a little higher. It's about $43,000. And we have about a quarter, 1 in 4 persons living below the poverty line. And this is data from the United States Census Bureau from our last census. We also see that there are some issues with housing, particularly among the elderly. And those are some of the challenges we saw. So when we classify the stores in terms of full service and convenience stores, we find that the majority of stores in the county are convenience stores. So 12% full service, 88% convenience store. Now, anybody ever gone into a Dollar General probably? I'm sure we all go into Dollar General. What do you see that's missing? What's not there? Fresh, right? Produce. Fortunately, there are a few stores, one out on, I think that's 22, not 22, 20, yeah, I think 22 that has now put in a fresh market, which is excellent. And so when we map this to look on the census block group, and I'm going to orient you to this map just now. So if you look on all these lines, the lines in the blue are suggesting a block group. So each of these are the block groups that the county is divided into. The green stars are our full service grocery stores. These are the stores where people can get everything they need. If you need a head of cabbage, you can get a head of cabbage. If you need some broccoli, you can get some broccoli. If you need ripe bananas, you can get ripe bananas. If you need some grapes, you can get grapes. If you notice, they are very few in compared to the other food sites, which are these little block dots around, and they're all centrally located, except for this one out here, which I think this one is McDade's, which is down on Vincent Highway. And then out here, I think we have one other store, and I think this is towards the lake. And the only reason this was, it may not be, there's one store out there that sold onions and ripe bananas. And because it sold onion and ripe bananas, we had to classify it as having good access. But you can't live on onion and ripe bananas, right? And so it did provide something fresh, some onions and ripe bananas. And so notice that most of these stores are on which street in Milledgeville? 441, North Columbia. So that's where you have all of your stores. And so if you live, for example, in Coopers, anybody from Coopers here? If you live in Coopers, it's gonna be difficult for you to get out here if you don't drive, right? You're gonna stop by the Pierces, or you're gonna stop by that other store, which I think is owned by the Pierces too, which is close up to the intersection. You know, and so this is what you have access to. And this is an inequity for people who live in the rural areas of our county. It's not that there are no stores out there. As you can see, there are a scattering of stores all throughout the county, except for a few areas. And so what we are proposing is that rather than these stores just selling general merchandises, is that we could promote that these stores adopt the principle of for every 4 stores that is a convenience store, one need to have a fresh food market. And I'm going to zone in a little bit more and tell you which stores I'm proposing this for. So for our convenience stores, these are the yellow stars now. So these are our Dollar General or gas station convenience stores. Notice they're all over the county. So the infrastructure is already there. What we need to advance is policy. For example, a growing store like Dollar General already have the concept of a fresh food market. And so all we're asking for is for government officials to consider a 1 in 3 or a 1 in 4 policy. So for every 4 Dollar General you have in the county, 1 should be a fresh food market. And if it is a fresh food market, then individuals would have greater access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so what we're advancing here is greater access or equitable access for all throughout the county. The other thing we looked on was whether or not they accepted SNAP or electronic benefits. A SNAP is a Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. This is where federal money goes into providing for low-income family, particularly female-headed households that are single family with children. If you are a single person that's unemployed, underemployed, or elderly, you can get up to $194 a month. And if you are a multifamily, you can get up to about $350 a month in supplemental nutrition assistance from the government. And that comes from our farm bill. This is a big bill that covers both farming and the supplemental assistance, nutrition assistance program. And so if you notice that a lot of the stores accept both. So we're looking at quite a few of the stores up here on the top left, full service grocery store accepting it. A few don't, but majority of them do. Look at the convenience stores. They also, the majority accept it. So, oh, you won't see my pointer on there. So we're looking at, let me see if I can step around a bit. So if you look on this side here, 70% of the convenience store accept the EBT. What that means is that if we use our government tax dollars to provide a family of 2, $350, what are they going to buy at these convenience stores? They're going to buy pop, so what we call it here is soda. They're going to buy other processed foods. And so, you know, when I met with Representative Scott's staffers, one of the complaints he had was that you could go into a supermarket and pick up cookies, donuts, and soda, but you can't buy, for example, a hot rotisserie chicken with how SNAP is set up right now. To compound that issue, people who have SNAP, when they go to these convenience stores, because that's the closest store to them, they can't buy fresh fruits and vegetables. So one of the things we have found is that people who are on this supplemental nutrition assistance program who live in rural communities like ours, they suffer more from having to deal with obesity and chronic disease conditions. And so if you think about it, we're using our government dollars to fix a problem, but we're actually making the problem worse. Why? It's not the SNAP problem, it's not the money problem, it's the access that these individuals have. And so if they have better access, they may choose better options. We then calculated a score to measure the quality of food sold by these stores. And if they look on this, what we call a box plot, on the left side, this one here, the mean score, healthy food assessment index score, is very high for a grocery store. The highest you can get is about 30. And if you look on the convenience store, it's very low. What that means is that the food that is in the convenience store in terms of food quality is very low, and the food that is in the full service store is of higher quality. And so we want our community members to have equitable access to our full service grocery stores, or stores that provide fresh fruits and vegetables. Again, another one of our graphs, which shows that, again, it's a straight line. The full service or access to fruits is just along one corridor, and that's going to be your 441. The similar picture is seen for vegetables, although the vegetables are a little different, but I caution you, don't get too excited. It's because a lot of these convenience store sells onions. For some reason, these convenience stores sells onions, and if they sell onions, we have to classify it as access to vegetable, because the onion is a vegetable. So if you go to the one right before the bridge at the lake, it's got Baton.
Yeah, rip off rigs.
Yeah, they sell onion. And when we walked into that store and we saw the onion, and it looks on our checklist and it says, is there any vegetable present? We had to say yes. So don't get too excited that you see some of these stores out here in green. It's because they sell things like seasoning, onions, and they may sell a few peppers or something like that. And so really what we do have is just about 7 full service grocery stores in the county. And we're thankful now that I think we're getting a Publix. Mm-hmm. And but again, where's the Publix going? But it makes sense for Publix, because that's where they will get great market share. People will come to the center. But what it doesn't make sense for is for the people who live in the rural areas. So we're not asking for people to build the mega stores out in the rural areas. What we're asking for is, for example, Walmart in Alabama, out in Auburn, or in Opelika. They have Walmart markets, just a market. It's a smaller store. It's probably 2 times the size of this room. And what they provide is fresh fruits and vegetables. But look at the plethora, again, of convenience stores. So the infrastructure, and I think I'm just using multiple pictures to tell you the same story. The infrastructure is there. All we're suggesting is that these stores, at least some of them, 1 in every 3 of them, should provide fresh fruits and vegetable access in the county. And I hope some of you here own stores. It's the easiest way to make a change, is to get you to say, you know, open a fresh food counter in your store. But if you don't own store, you might know individuals who own stores. You might rub shoulders with the policymakers who inform policy on what goes to bid for building in the county. And this is where you can make a real difference. So what are the public health issues here? First and foremost, according to our statistics, each individual should live within 1 mile of a place where they can buy fresh fruits and vegetables. That's the gold standard. It's not going to happen in Baldwin County. And I'm not saying it should happen in Baldwin County. 1 in 10 for us would be good. 10 miles would be good. The other thing is that there's a ratio of 1 to 6 full service to convenience stores. So for every 1 full service grocery store that you have, there are 6 convenience stores. And these convenience stores often don't provide fresh fruits and vegetables. Very few of the stores, just the full service ones, have a high healthy food assessment index. And convenience stores are the majority of stores that we have in the county. And we pretty much need to change that. What does this mean for people though? If we improve the access to healthy foods in these stores, we can decrease obesity, we can decrease hypertension, we can decrease cardiovascular diseases such as strokes and heart disease. We can improve longevity, meaning people can live longer. The current average life expectancy now is around about 80, getting there to 80. It fell during COVID and it's coming back up. But really, we could go back up to some of the Scandinavian countries' rate, which is in the high 80s, like 88, right? 89. These are what the Scandinavian countries are seeing. And they do that largely because of access and physical activity. I was once in Copenhagen in Denmark, and I went to the train station and I saw a sea of bicycles. And it turns out that a fair bit, perhaps over a third of the population, bikes to work and to a point where they can get other commute means. The other thing that we can do is to look on the fact that convenience store access is predictive of greater obesity, meaning the more convenience store you have in a geographical space is the higher the risk of the people living in that geographic space to become overweight or obese. Why? Because the quality of food that they have access to in these convenience stores is low quality food. So if you think about it, I can supply 5 days meal for children without $150 if I buy sodas, bread, cookies, cakes, as opposed to if I try to buy broccoli, if I try to buy a rice pilaf in a box or something like that, if I buy chicken. Those are more expensive. But if you improve their access and educate these individuals, then you will have increased longevity of life and beneficial life. And so my call to action for the esteemed members of this club is that whatever you can do in your sphere of influence to raise consciousness or awareness to the fact that the food situation in Baldwin County is terrible, please do so. Mention this in your churches, mention this in your place of work, mention this at your dinner parties, that we can do more to improve access to fresh fruits and vegetables, because what we take for granted because we can drive to Kroger or we can drive to Aldi, many people living in some of the rural remote areas of our county don't have that luxury of getting access to these fresh fruits and vegetables. And we can decrease the health bill, we can improve the longevity and the quality of life if we improve access to fresh fruits and vegetables in our county. This is where I'm going to end it and open. If you have questions, I'm welcome to take those.
So how, if most of these convenience stores and so forth, and business in general, is to achieve a profit. Convenience stores, probably that fresh stuff doesn't have as good a shelf life and probably a lower profit in that because of the, how you gonna get them to do it unless you give them some kind of incentive?
That's right. I'm very happy you mentioned that. So what we propose is incentivization of these individuals. And again, county government often give tax breaks to attract investment in the county or in a state, for example. There's always these tax breaks. What we propose is incentivizing those stores who choose to operate a fresh food market. And these incentives can come in the form of tax breaks. They can come in the form of write-off for loss in terms of the produce that is spoiled. And there are several other methods that have been shown to be successful in terms of how we can get these stores not to operate at a loss, but to operate still at their profit margin by bringing these. And you can see this. Walmart does it, Kroger does it, Aldi does it. Some of the farmers, some of the Dollar General currently do it, and they're not operating at a loss. What we also propose is partnerships with local farmers to get in-season foods available at some of these convenience stores. If you notice, during the summer months, when there is melon and cantaloupes available, you'll see these pop-up vehicles on the side of the road. What we're suggesting is that the farmers who are planting some of these stuff partner with the local businesses to provide the produce to them, and that the government then give the incentive not to the business owner, but to the local farmer. And the local farmer then provides to the business owner at a negotiated price, so that even if they have spoilage, they won't have loss. And so there are different mechanisms that you can use. You can use one where you address the farmers, or you can give the benefit to the store owners. Many government states prefer to give the benefit to local farmers, because you are putting the money back into your economy when you give to the local farmers the incentives as opposed to the business owners, because oftentimes these are franchises or chain businesses that the profit goes outside of the state or outside of the county to somewhere else. Other questions?
Thank you very much. And so what we'd like to do is we have a program called Jill's Books where we donate books to the library, and we would love for you to sign this for them, and you get to pick one of these pens and keep it.
Great, thank you.
And that's handcrafted by Greg Blakely. He can tell you what kind of wood it is.
Which is your best pen?
What's that?
Which is your best pen in here? That might be a good idea.
That one right there.
It's mahogany?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's July 26th.
Yes, can you
22nd.
believe my first month of pregnant is almost over? That was fast. All right,
Thank you.
well, thank you very much. And with that, I'm gonna leave us with a thought for today. And the thought is, we make a living from what we get, we make a life from what we give. Winston Churchill.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
You still have responded on the maybe this is.